Have you ever felt like your brain was a blessing and a curse at the same time? Like it sees too much, questions too deeply, and refuses to let you rest? While others seem to glide through life, accepting things as they are, laughing at small jokes, enjoying shallow pleasures, you stay trapped in your head, constantly dissecting, doubting, and overanalyzing. This is not about arrogance. This is not superiority. It's exhaustion. Because to be smart is not to have all the answers. It's to know too many of the wrong questions, to be cursed with awareness of pain, of contradiction, of the unbearable silence behind people's smiles. You see everything, and you can't unsee it. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." But when you're too conscious, when everything is made visible, what then? The mind becomes a prison, where meaning collapses under scrutiny, where trust erodes under too much perception, where your intelligence becomes your worst enemy. You think so much, you forget how to feel. You notice too much, and it paralyzes your ability to act. People call it wisdom, but often it's just high-functioning anxiety in disguise, because when you know how everything can go wrong, you hesitate, you avoid, you withdraw, not because you're weak, but because your brain won't shut up. Awareness is not freedom, it's exposure. They say knowing is half the battle, but for some of us, knowing is the battle. When you're intelligent, when your mind constantly observes, dissects, and analyzes, you don't just see the world, you see its cracks. You hear what people don't say. You predict betrayal before it happens. And worst of all, you can't turn it off. Over-awareness is not clarity, it's noise. It's the inability to rest in ignorance. It's the psychological version of insomnia. Your thoughts never go to sleep. You understand why someone left, why they lied, why they're hurting, why you're hurting. You understand everything, except how to stop it. You're not ahead, you're just exposed. Carl Jung once said, "Enlightenment is not about imagining figures of light, but making the darkness conscious." But no one tells you what happens after you see that darkness, how it starts following you, how every smile now has a shadow, how even love starts to feel like a warning. Awareness doesn't protect you, it isolates you. Because when you're aware, you see through things. And once you see through people's masks, through the illusions of safety, through your own patterns and projections, you stop believing in them. And that's the real cost of intelligence. Not being wrong, but never feeling right again. Too smart to love freely. The smarter the mind, the harder it becomes to surrender. Because surrender requires trust. And trust is a gamble that the analytical brain refuses to take. For those with high cognitive sensitivity, love is rarely simple. It's not a warm feeling that washes over them. It's a calculation, a hesitation, a scan for risk, and often it's already over before it begins. Killed by 1,000 what-ifs. What if they lose interest? What if I lose myself? What if I'm just a placeholder until someone better arrives? These aren't just passing thoughts. They are deeply rooted algorithms that run in the background, driven by years of emotional overexposure and intellectual survival. Highly intelligent individuals tend to develop avoidant attachment styles, not because they don't feel, but because they feel too much. Their minds anticipate rejection like clockwork, so instead of reaching out, they shut down. They don't fall in love, they fall into analysis. They observe rather than engage. They think before every text, every call, every word. Spontaneity is replaced by strategy, and intimacy becomes a chessboard of emotional moves. But here's the paradox. They crave the very thing they fear, longing for connection while bracing for abandonment, desperate for someone to understand them, yet terrified of being seen too clearly. So they withhold. They ration out affection like a scarce resource, test the waters but never fully dive in. Love, for them, becomes a controlled experiment, where the heart is locked away in case of failure. This kind of guardedness doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from pain, from the times they loved freely and it cost them everything, from the memories that still echo in silence, from the realization that intelligence doesn't protect you from heartbreak. It only makes you see it coming, and seeing it coming doesn't make it hurt less. It just makes you lonely longer. Too much clarity, not enough comfort. You ever walk into a room and instantly feel the vibes off? No one said anything, but you just know. Someone's pretending. Someone's hiding. That's not magic. That's pattern recognition. Smart people see the wiring behind the wall, the thoughts behind the words, the reasons behind the smiles. But guess what? Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And suddenly, life feels like one big performance. You start to wonder, would I be happier if I missed more? If I didn't notice the lies, the pauses, the fake laughs? Too much clarity doesn't free you. It isolates you. You stop feeling with people. You start analyzing through them. Sometimes, it makes you wish you were just a little more naive. Not because you're wrong, but because truth without warmth is cold. Smart, but not whole. You read books on emotions. You watch videos about trauma. You get it logically. So why does your own pain still freeze you? Why do you go blank when someone asks, "What are you feeling?" Because being smart isn't the same as being whole. You can label every feeling and still not feel safe. You can explain your triggers, but still not heal them. The truth? Smart people survive by thinking. But healing asks you to feel, and that part wasn't in the books. To be whole, you don't need another theory. You need softness. You need to stop performing strength. You need to breathe without a plan. Wholeness isn't logic. It's letting your guard down long enough to actually feel alive. The quiet exit. They don't rage quit life. They don't post dramatic goodbyes. Smart people just fade out. One by one, they step back. From loud rooms, from shallow talks, from places where their depth feels like too much. And it's not bitterness, it's clarity. They're not escaping. They're choosing peace. They read more. They reply less. They find joy in the quiet. Not because they gave up on the world, but because they finally stopped needing it to get them. It's not loneliness. It's coming home to themselves.